Hey everybody, I had a request come in via my Shelby Flyer YouTube channel to make a video for one of the cars I haven't featured yet in my collection. So in today's video, we're going to take a look at this one over here, my 1993 teal metallic SVT Cobra. It is all original all the way down to the old tires. I am going to take it out for a drive in this video, but not get on it too crazy like since it's riding on such old tires. But I even wore the shirt for the occasion, so here we go, taking a look at the 1993 Cobra. All right, first of all, I'm going to show you a little bit with it back in its cave here. But this car lives in this spot underneath my loft. I've got all the 93 memorabilia on the walls over there alongside with some of the other cars, but 93 is front and center. It comes out once in a while. It's registered and insured. I do drive this one maybe once every handful of months. Now, I couldn't tell you the last time I drove it, but we're gonna get it out here shortly. But I do keep it on a battery tender too, also, so it should fire right up. And I'm actually gonna fire it up and pull it out here center stage so we can get a good walk around on it. See if it starts. Find out. Alright, before we get into the specifics of what a 93 Cobra is, just some general things to point out. When I bought this car back in 2014, I had some people say, why would you buy a 93 Cobra? At the time, I already had my 2011 GT500 over here with 750 horsepower. And this car, obviously a lot less. 235 was the official number on the horsepower there. People thought, you're crazy buying a 93 Cobra. You don't buy this car for modern day performance. 7 years later, the 2000 Cobra R over there had 385 horsepower. 11 years later or so was the Terminator, or 10 years for the 93, or 2003, 11 years for my 04. That had 390 horsepower with a supercharger. My 2011 Shelby came out with 550 horse, it's now 750 horse. And now with the 2020 GT500, we're 27 years later at 760 horsepower. So you don't buy a 93 Cobra for its modern day performance. You buy it because it's a piece of SVT history. It is the, initial offering from Ford SVT. It's what sparked the whole Mustang SVT Cobra, which is a pretty cool piece of history. It's also a cool car. If you like Fox body Mustangs, it's kind of the King Fox. I think it still looks good all these years later. But performance-wise, it's not going to be on par with the latest offerings. Just a neat piece of history. And it turns out it's actually a really good investment car. Out of all my cars in here, that has been the most rapidly increasing value-wise of all the cars. All right, let's talk about what a 1993 SVT Cobra is. First of all, Ford introduced this car at the '92 Chicago Auto Show. The SN95 Mustang that came out in '94 wasn't ready. It was still a year away. But this was SVT's answer and Ford's answer to the 4th Gen Camaro and Firebird that was just released. That was kicking Mustang's butt. This was the first performance Mustang from the newly formed Special Vehicle Team, or SVT as it's known, and was a fantastic send-off to the 15-year run that the Fox Body Mustangs enjoyed from 79 to 93. The 93 Cobra ended up being a one-year only offering, like I mentioned earlier. And if you hadn't noticed by my collection here, I've focused mostly on one-year only Mustang Cobras. I got the 93 teal metallic here in front of us. The 94 Indianapolis 500 Cobra Pace car underneath other Fox Body back there in the corner. 95 two-top, hard-top convertible right here in front of us. And 96 Mystic back there in the corner. 2000 Cobra R. And the 2004 Mystic Chrome Terminator up top there. All one-year only Mustang Cobra offerings. Wasn't offered the year before or after, which are great collector cars. All right, what makes a 93 Cobra a 93 Cobra? Well, you're looking at a big part of it, the engine. The 5-liter 302 block is just a standard Mustang 5-liter block, nothing special there. But the big difference is the heads are GT40 heads. And the intake is a GT40 inspired cast version of the tubular intake that was on the GT40. Both flowing much better. The exhaust, actually the headers there are same standard as well as the H-pipe, but the difference on the flow of the exhaust is high flow mufflers. So more air getting in, more air getting out, makes more power. There's also a larger throttle body on this versus the standard Mustang. As long as we're talking engine, a good way to figure out if it's a faux Cobra or fake Cobra or a real Cobra, if you look at the VIN, the 8th digit should be a D right there after 42D. That signifies the Cobra engine. The power of this engine feeds through a 10.5-inch clutch into a Borg-Warner T5 transmission. Different than the regular Mustangs got. This one was beefed up in the 93 Cobra to handle more power. But then it travels back to an 8.5-inch rear end, and it has 3.08 gears. All right, talking suspension on the 93 Cobra. So normally when you talk about a performance Mustang, you talk about a stiffer suspension setup. Ford SVT actually went the opposite direction. They went with a softer, more compliant suspension with the 93. This was to target a more mature crowd versus the boy racer, quote unquote, target of the Mustang GT. And it made for a softer ride, but ironically, it was lauded as the best handling Mustang of all time to date. The cars have a McPherson strut front setup and a multi-link solid rear axle that was tweaked over the Mustang GT. The front sway bar is actually smaller than the Mustang GT, 28.5 millimeters on the Cobra versus 33 millimeters on the Mustang GT. The springs were softer at 425 pounds in the front versus 530 in the GT. And in the back, they put linear 160 pound 4-cylinder springs. The shocks and struts were provided by Tokiko, I believe is how you pronounce it. And they were specifically valved for the 93 Cobra. All right, talking brakes. So the 93 Cobra actually received disc brakes on all four corners. This was big in the Mustang community back then. The regular Mustang had drums on the rear and discs up front. This got discs on all four corners, like I said. And the rear discs on the 93 Cobra were last seen on the 87 to 88 Thunderbird Turbo Coupe. And also noteworthy for the brakes is still no ABS analog braking system yet for the Mustang. That happened the next year with the 94 on the SN95 change. As far as exterior styling differences, the 93 Cobra received a specific ground effects package. You can see there on the front and on the sides on the bottom. The rear we'll take a look at here in a second, but it was a little bit higher, allowed for straight exhaust. Also on the front here, since we're up here, we've got the slotted open grille, and the pony, the running horse there, replaced the blue oval, Ford oval, that were on other Fox body Mustangs. You can see in the back here how the ground effects were a little bit higher in the back, allowed for straight out exhaust. And also in the back you can see the pinstripe taillights and the 93 Cobra specific spoiler. Those taillights were last seen on the SVO Mustang. And something to point out, you can always tell the originals versus recreations, because the originals, that pinstripe ends right there, and the recreation, the pinstripe goes all the way to the end. All right, we can't talk exterior styling without taking a look at the iconic wheels that came on the 93 Cobra. These are directional. There's a left wheel and a right wheel. They are 17 inches by 7.5. Still 4-lug at this time. 5-lug, I believe, came the next year in 94. And incidentally, these are the tallest or biggest diameter tires that came on a Mustang to date. These are the Goodyear Eagle P245 45 ZR17s, and these are the original tires. Oh, and also in frame here, you can see the Mustang Cobra badge in the upper right. This was the last Mustang Cobra, or Shelby for that matter, to wear a backwards facing Cobra badge on the driver's side. The next year, 94, all of them faced forward. That continued all the way up through the end of the Mustang Cobras in 2004, and carried on in the Shelby GT500s 2007 and later. All right, like I mentioned earlier, these are the original tires. We'll talk about the date code of tires. So the date code's changed. This was back when there were 3 digits. You can see right here, this is 462, so the 46th week of 1992 is when these tires were produced. That later changed to a 4-digit code. We'll go take a look at my Terminator right now to see what a 4-digit code looks like. So here is my Mr. Chrome Terminator, and these are also the original tires. You can see right here that says, I think, 2803, so 28th week of 03. So the year went to a 2-digit year in these years. All right, take a look on the interior of a 93 Cobra. Not much difference in here versus a standard Mustang or Mustang GT. The Cobra badged floor mats are really the big difference. The colors are a little bit different. So the 93 Cobra had essentially 3 options. There were opal gray seats, cloth seats available, opal gray leather seats, which you're seeing here, and then black cloth as well. But the interior, pretty much just a standard Mustang Fox body interior. As long as we're talking interior colors, let's talk exterior colors. The 93 Cobra really only came in 3, kind of 4 colors. There was a vibrant red available. There was also a vibrant red without clear coat that not very many of those were made. And then there was black, and then the only metallic color is the one you're looking at, which is teal metallic. All right, I'm up in my loft filming down to get a different look, and time to talk numbers. Like I said before, this is a 302 5-liter, 235 horsepower. That was rated at 4,600 RPMs, 280 foot-pounds of torque at 4,000. It has 9.0 to 1 compression on the engine. The throttle body and mass airflow sensor, it had 65mm throttle body. It did a mass airflow, and that flowed 638 cubic feet per minute. Fuel delivery in these cars was supplied by an 88 liter per hour pump, running at 35 psi. The injectors were 24 pounds versus the Mustang GT had 19 pounds. There's a 15.4 gallon tank, and the car is rated at 17 city MPG and 24 highway. The official curb weight of the 93 Cobra is 3,255 pounds. Mustang production for 1993 was 114,228. Of those, 4,993 were SVT Cobras. This is excluding the 107 Cobra R's that were made. Prices started at $19,900, and we're going to take a look at this fully optioned window sticker now. Well, it's time to take this thing out for a ride. It's actually a week later from when I filmed the other stuff. Got different clothes on for the event due to some rain, and I was out of town for a week working. I'm now back. It actually gave me time to, I didn't realize the registration sticker was expired. I couldn't find the registration, so got another one sent to me. So the car has updated registration. It's time to take this thing out for a drive. Here we go. Alright, here we go. Like I said earlier in the video, I'm riding on old tires from the early 90s, so I'm not going to be getting on this car very hard. But we're going to take it out for a ride, see it in action, have a little fun. It's a neat piece of history, so here we go. One of the neat things about this car is absolutely everything works, including all the way down to the original car stereo here. CD player works. So the 93 Cobra was kind of early in when airbags were introduced into Mustangs. The first year of Mustang airbag was 1990. I've got an 89 GT convertible Fox. That's the last year of the skinny little hub. These cars have the massive center airbag hub on the steering wheel. Ford hadn't quite figured out how to, make that small yet. But the big problem with that is I've had a couple times driving this car through the years where somebody cuts me off, accidentally tries to hit me, and I've gotten a panic, hit the horn, and there's nothing in the middle. That's just kind of a natural reaction. But you got to remember to hit the little buttons up in the corners, which in a split-second panic, you don't think of that. when out cruising in this car is, you know, most people will just not even look, you know, it's just an old car. But Mustang people, you can always spot the Mustang people. They'll look at it, they'll wave. I've had people come up to that gas station like, holy crap, this is amazing. You never see these cars anymore. Yeah, so it's fun to get reactions from Mustang fans. I'll go months and months and months without seeing another 93 Cobra. Sometimes, you know, I live somewhat rural in Texas, so, you know, when I go into town or maybe a car show, I might see one, but other than that, I never see them out driving around. Kind of need to get them out. All right, we're gonna get on the car a little bit here. It's like a third to half throttle. Shifting a little over 4,200 RPMs. Red line is just shy of 6, like 58 or so. So yeah, the car's got some good pep, so to speak. Not in line with today's performance cars, but yeah, it's a fun car to drive. It's obviously very light, small, a lot of windows, a lot of visibility. Sunroof is kind of cool. All right, from a dig here, there we go. That was 4,500 RPMs. A little bump on the bridge here, we gotta get off the gas. That's fun. My first car back in high school was a 1980 metallic brown 4-cylinder 88 horsepower Mustang Fox body hatchback. Love that car. Gusted it up with all the fun stuff, but yeah, absolutely zero performance. 88 horsepower. You can almost get a lawnmower with that much horsepower these days. But it was fun. I enjoyed it. You know, the hatchbacks obviously were kind of a thing of yesteryear, so to speak, but boy, they sure are versatile when you can open up the back and load it up with whatever the heck you want back there. Shifting at 3,800 RPMs. I don't like to run this car up, you know, work it hard. It's got all the original belt, hoses, everything. So all driving this car is just a slice in time. This is what it was like to drive the you know, top-of-line Halo Mustang in 1992 to 93. I kind of dig it. So driving back to my garage to wrap up this video, I got to go over a real rough section of road. And I'm used to my newer Mustangs, 2011 GT500, 2020 GT500. They're a much stiffer ride, and you drive over that bumpy section and it's really a rough ride. This car, like I said earlier in the video, it's a very soft, compliant ride, so it's actually pretty smooth going over all the bumps. It's kind of a welcome change. Well, I got the car safe and sound back in the garage. I had a good time. Always fun getting this car out for a drive. I enjoyed making the video. I took my oldest son out with me to film the drive-by footage. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. See you next time.